Hello, good day, and we're glad to have you join us on Nationwide today, coming to you live from the nation's capital on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Ruth Aguele. Let's begin with the judiciary. President Muhammadu Buhari says the nation's judiciary will continue to be adequately funded by his administration to effectively discharge its responsibilities of interpreting and applying the law as watchdog for evil practices in the country. Inaugurating the annex building of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria headquarters in Abuja, the president, however, called for concerted efforts by the three arms of government towards safeguarding the rights of all Nigerians through fair justice delivery. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details. Definitely bring you details of that report in our subsequent bulletin. But let's move on. Still on the judiciary, the convener of Revolution Now protest, Omoyele Sowore, has been arraigned before a federal high court sitting in Abuja. He was arraigned before Justice Ijoma Ojukwu on a 7-count charge of treasonable felony, money laundering and cybercrime. Austin Ayembe will tell us more.
The convener of the Revolution Now protest, Omoyele Sowore, was arraigned alongside Olawale Bakari by the State Security Service. When the charge was read, they both pleaded not guilty to the 7-count charge. The statement on the count read that his proposed call for revolution protest of August 5, 2019 aimed at removing the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, thus amounting to treasonable felony, punishable under Section 431 of the Criminal Code Act Cap C-38 laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and punishable under the same section of the Act. Part of the count was that the first defendant committed a cybercrime offense by sending a press interview on Arise television, causing insult, enmity, hatred, and ill will on the person of the President of Nigeria. Other counts have to do with movement of funds from the defendant's UBA account to other bank accounts outside Nigeria with alleged intention to conceal the sources of the money, thereby violating the Money Laundering Act. Having pleaded not guilty to all the count charge, the defense counsel Lamide Fuscat prayed the court to order the release of the defendant on bail since he was denied the earlier bail order by the court. Justice Ijoma Ojukwu, however, ruled that the defense counsel should file a bail application. She adjourned hearing for Friday, the 4th of October, when the bail application is expected to be argued. From the Federal High Court, Abuja, Austin Ayembe, NTA News.
Have a case. And still on the judiciary, a federal high court sitting in Abuja has ruled that the former Benue State Governor, Gabriel Soswam, and his former Finance Commissioner, Omodachi Okonobia, have a case to answer. The court also ruled that it has jurisdiction to entertain the suit. Justice Okon Agbang gave the ruling while dismissing the defendant's objection to reassignment of the case filed to another judge. Olabode Arewa has more.
Senator Gabriel Soswam and Omodachi Okonobia were arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on 9 counts of alleged diversion of 9.7 billion naira of Benue State funds to their personal use. The offences allegedly took place in 2014 when they transferred the monies into the accounts of One Farm Flash Securities, a bureau de change operator, to be converted into dollars, an offence contrary to Section 15 of the Money Laundering and Prohibition Act of 2012. The case was formally before Justice Muhammad, who recused himself from the case, following media reports alleging that he had been bribed to kill the case. Upon reassignment of the file to Justice Okon Agbang, who dismissed the defendant's objection to reassigning the case. He ruled that Section 98, Subsection 2 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 relied upon by the defendants were inapplicable in this case. The two defendants had pleaded not guilty to the corruption charges against them, while the court had also granted them permission to continue on existing bail terms. Further hearing continues on the 20th of October. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
In other news, the Department of State Services cleared the air regarding media reports, which says Dr. Chido Onuma was arrested by the service. A statement by Peter Afunanya, Public Relations Officer, Department of State Services, says Onuma was only engaged in an interaction when he was sighted wearing a shirt with inscriptions "We're all Biafrans" at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, which the service see as an act capable of undermining public order and national security. And talking Nigeria's independence now, United States of America President Donald Trump has extended his warm regard to the people of Nigeria and President Muhammadu Buhari for the 59th anniversary celebration. In a statement issued by American Embassy, President Trump describes Nigeria as America's strongest partner in Africa. He said Nigeria and the U.S. share common goals on expanding trade and growing economic relations, as well as partnership in the fight against terrorism. President Trump applauded efforts of the Buhari's administration in kicking out Boko Haram and ISIS in West Africa. And still on the independence, interdenominational church service has held to mark, an interdenominational church service has held a church service to mark Nigeria's 59th independence. Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo at the church service says God, through his trusted prophets, has promised a new, peaceful and prosperous Nigeria where equity and justice will prevail. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
It's a message of hope as the nation gets ready for the 59th independence anniversary. And for a nation with a greater population of believers in the existence and power of God, Vice President Yemi Oshibajo brings the message that God is ready to take Nigerians into the promised land, as it is recorded in the holy books that he did for the Israelites by taking them out of bondage, suffering, and slavery into the promised land.
The new Nigeria is here, and each and every one of us, our families and our friends, all of us will eat the pleasant fruits of this new land. God Almighty has taken away the protection of the enemies of this nation. He has taken away their powers. The noise we hear, the turbulence that we experience are the last gasps of the defeated foe. The day of freedom is at the door.
Former Head of State, General Yakubu Gowon, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, the CAN President, Shupo Ayokunle, are among dignitaries that speak on the new Nigeria.
Of the various self-inflicted crises and challenges in our nation today, we can come together in unity of faith, love and prayer to salvage our nation from its woes.
Let us take our mindset. Don't let us think of ourselves alone any longer.
The interdenominational church service is part of the programs organized to mark Nigeria's 59th independence. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And in Benue State, Governor Samuel Ortom has urged leaders at all levels to reflect on the good memories of the country to rekindle the ideals of the heroes past for a greater Nigeria. The governor made a call at the 29th interdenominational service in commemoration of Nigeria's 59th independence in Makurdi, the state capital. Elias Itiav reports that the governor was represented by his deputy, Benson Abaunu.
The interdenominational service at the instance of the church and the state government is to appreciate God for preserving Nigeria as one indivisible entity and to seek his intervention on the challenges being faced as a nation. Taken from the book of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 to 11, Governor Samuel Ortom, represented by the Deputy Governor Benson Abaunu, took the first reading. Chief Judge of the State, Justice Andove Kaka, delivered the second reading, while Speaker, Benue State House of Assembly, Titus Uba, took the palm reading. Deputy Governor Benson Abaunu, who represented the governor, says, times such as independence call for reminiscence and resolve to stand firm in upholding unity and stability in the society.
God is not a respecter of anybody. His judgment is true and right. So every one of us has to be ready. High churchmanship will not save anyone.
Chairman, Kan Benue State, Reverend Abuelewa, thanked the church for its support over the years. The interdenominational service featured intercessory prayers for God's sustenance of the country and its leaders, for peace and unity and growth of the state, democracy in Nigeria and economic independence, strengthening of the government and other arms of government, and for the body of Christ. In Makurdi, Elias, Etiaf, NTA News.
Still on the independence of Nigeria, unity in diversity has been described as the pillar holding the country together in a manner that connotes progress. 59 years after independence, guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria also suggested ways through which the progress can be enhanced going forward. Kolo Mohammed will tell us more.
Value system handed down by Nigeria's founding fathers is believed to be the most important element that has ensured peace, progress and development, which in turn earned Nigeria its lofty status as a nation.
Our people, with all our diversities, were able to live together, to forge ahead, to the extent that we now have over 20 years of unbroken democracy.
And I knew that at that time, we respect our elders. We lived a life where everybody was like everybody's friend.
The guests are of the view that in recent times, the country's value system seems to be eroding, as evidenced by current challenges of national life. They, however, note that the resilience of Nigerians in difficult times is commendable.
The grace of resilience that Nigerians have it has amazed the world. It has amazed the world. I have a friend from Ghana, and he tells me that, there is this proverb, when you push a person to the wall, then he has nowhere to go. He has to resist you and push you back. But according to him, from his observation of Nigeria, he said, when you push Nigerians to the wall, they will carry the wall and move it a little further so that you can... In other words, he saw that Nigerians had such endurance, the kind of which you cannot really explain.
The chairman of the Peace Airline, that...
Airpeace.
Yes, Airpeace. You know, he wept when he saw people, in spite of the inconveniences and the expulsion out of a country that they have businesses in, when they approached the boarding that flight, they were singing the national
anthem. Exactly.
These are Nigerians. And what that patriotism also means is, I will speak to the press. Help us to project the best out of us.
They agree that the selfless attributes of the Buhari administration will make the country even better. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Time now for our first break. We'll be back on Nationwide, so don't go anywhere.
The 59th Independence Day Celebration Planning Committee announces activities lined up for the celebration as follows. The Republic 2 Independence Edition Youth Concert. Time 6 p.m. Venue Millennium Park. Tuesday 1st October Independence Media Broadcast. Time 7 a.m. Venue State House. Presidential Change of Guards. Time 9 a.m. Venue State House Forecourt. Public lecture and gala night. Time 6 p.m. Venue State House Conference Center. All public officers are expected to actively participate in the anniversary celebration as appropriate. Boss Mustafa, Chairman, 59th Independence Day Celebration Planning Committee and Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Announcer.
A new perspective is required to change the narrative of unemployment. Industry must be brought to the classroom. Craftsmanship must evolve with technical finesse to enhance effectiveness. This is the ideal on which the first technical university, TechU Ibadan, was founded. Craftsmanship constantly redefined. New vistas of hope from an emerging league of job creators is opening at TechU as our entrepreneurship program is first class. Over 400 students have been impacted with creative skills and empowered to create jobs. Full and partial scholarships are available for outstanding students. TechU has partnership with Texas Technical University, USA, which enables students enjoy a 1 year of study in Texas. Hostel accommodation is available in a serene and secure environment. To apply for admission, visit www.applications.techu.edu.ng. Get skilled, get empowered, get Get a TechU degree.
The NTA ETV Annual Expo is here again. This time, it's the 13th edition with the theme Promoting Unity and Innovations in Youths as Agents of Change Through Science and Arts. It promises to be captivating as youths across the nation showcase their unique skills and innovations in science and arts, make new friends, and showcase their rich cultural heritage. Join us at the NTA Headquarters Arena, Area 11, Garki, Abuja from Sunday 20th October to Thursday 24th October 2019. For more information, participation, and sponsorship, please call these numbers. NTA ETV, promoting learning.
The 59th Independence Planning Committee wishes to inform all invited guests to the 2019 Anniversary Dinner and Gala Night to be held at the Conference Center of the State House on Tuesday, 1st October 2019 at 6 p.m. that they are to park their vehicles at the Eagle Square where buses have been provided to convey them to the State House. Members of the Diplomatic Corps will, however, be allowed to drive in their vehicles to the venue of the dinner. Boss Mustafa, Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman Planning Committee, announcer.
Thanks for staying tuned. Let's now head to Lagos to join Dotun Ogunyemi for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Dotun.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Lagos. Relevant stakeholders are collaborating to checkmate infiltration of substandard electrical products in the market. The Director General Standards Organization of Nigeria, Osita Boloma, at a sensitization workshop in Lagos, urged importers to venture into establishing manufacturing and assembling of electrical products to boost trade. Imolayo Tokede has details.
The Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, assented by President Muhammadu Buhari, is among other important issues to support importers to get the required standards to make their products competitive. This initiative, which is being implemented by the Standards Organization of Nigeria, is targeted at saving the country's foreign exchange, since most of what is imported into the country can be manufactured locally.
Nigerian cables are the best. The machineries to produce these things are not expensive. So if you come to SON, SON will help you, select the materials, select the equipment, and you start producing. It's even better for you instead of continue to import.
Key players pledge to support the federal government to drive its zero tolerance for substandard imports program.
We have made it known to our people the importance of liaising and cooperating with the SON standardization. Number one, you must register your product with your brand name.
Alaba Market, the same way they are working together with the Sun. We too in Lagos Island, we will at the same time copy whatever they do to make sure that the electrical is electrical everywhere.
They indicated proper regulation, arrest and closure of illegal warehouses to sanitize the sector. In Lagos, Imolayo Tokide, NTA News.
Technology is now being deployed at the prenatal screening stage for early detection of conditions associated with Down syndrome. A cardiologist, Professor Ekanem Ekure, said this innovation is key in managing and reducing the number of children born with the condition. Diana Ajale reports.
In spite of the challenges of these special children living with Down syndrome, nothing revealed that they are physically challenged based on their presentation. These items, Ankara bags, liquid soap and several artworks displayed were also made by them.
More and more people are getting to know that they are part of the society and that we should include them in whatever we do.
Parents and community at large, we must look at people living with Down syndrome as creatures of God, just like us.
That was not all. I stepped further to interact with one of the young men living with Down syndrome, Solomon Omere, who revealed his big dream.
I am still advocate. I speak and I say, for others, I want to help all my friends.
They need regular checkup, checking their ears, checking their eyes, then physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. And these are things that should start early.
Speakers advised parents and the general public to always show them love and focus on their positive side.
You love them, encourage them, even with their challenges and some of the shortcomings that they have, they would do well.
Down syndrome, also known as trisomy 21, is a genetic disorder caused by the presence of all or parts of a third copy of chromosome 21. It is usually associated with physical growth delays, mid to moderate intellectual disability, and facial features. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
With a high demand for remotely piloted aircraft, also known as drones, in the country, key industry players are brainstorming to ensure that laid-down regulations on its usage are strictly adhered to by operators. This was at an awareness symposium on remotely piloted aircraft in Nigeria, prospects and challenges. Adeola Omokive reports.
The benefits of drones are enormous. They are used to carry sensitive equipment to assist in any function, be it mapping of areas, agriculture, archaeology, and surveillance of oil and gas installations, as well as military operations. And knowing that there are always positive and negative influences to any venture, regulating the operation of drones has therefore become imperative. At the one-day awareness symposium, papers presented by representatives from the Office of the National Security Advisor and Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority harped on the need for every operator to be licensed, adhere to the regulations, meet required specifications and classification in acquiring drones, as failure will attract punitive measures.
It's worrisome to note that the availability of this technology in the open market has created easy access to the product, which could be harnessed by criminal elements and terrorist organizations to carry out acts with severe consequences on national security.
The need to drive Nigeria to take the lead in ensuring full acceptance of the technology, organizers believe, will go a long way in establishing the country as the center of excellence for unmanned systems technology.
So to be aware, they themselves must be educated to understand this technology so that any changes or where they impact on safety and security of the people, they can immediately mitigate through regulations.
When you have that awareness and you see that somebody is probably doing this in an illegal manner, you will have that knowledge and that wisdom to want to report it.
Nigeria Customs is one of the agencies partnering with the Office of the National Security Advisor and the NCAA to ensure that those drones that are brought into the countries are for legitimate uses.
We should first make sure that whatever we do is up to standard, as that will help to mitigate risks.
The regulatory bodies have therefore been mandated to enforce regulations, impound and sanction users of drones who violate the law. In Lagos, Adeola Omokive, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Dotun, and welcome back to Abuja. Let's talk electoral matters now. Monday, September 30 is set as deadline for the collection of permanent voters' card in Kogi State. INEC says only 7,000 out of the 170,000 eligible voters who registered in the continuous voter registration exercise have so far picked up their cards. Charles Alpha gives us an insight on this.
There are more than 1.6 million registered voters in Kogi State going into the governorship election in November. After the 2019 general election, more than 170,000 uncollected cards were still with the commission in the state. In order to guarantee more participation, INEC announced sometimes last month that it would commence redistribution of permanent voter cards from 2nd to 30th of September.
Before the exercise for the issuance of permanent voters cards commenced, we had a total of 170,664 uncollected permanent voters cards. And as of the end of the third week, we've only been able to issue 7,044 cards.
In the process of collection, some persons could neither find their names nor cards. With just a fraction of the over 170,000 cards collected, is INEC planning to extend the deadline to enable more persons collect their cards? And if not, what is the fate of those who could not get their cards before the September 30th deadline?
Yeah, the Commission hasn't taken a decision to extend, but that's unlikely, considering the fact that we make preparations for elections. We need to commit our staff to other preparations for the whole series of trainings, which ordinarily involve some of those staff, but because of the exercise, they've had to go to issue the cards. And so, if the Commission decides that we should extend, of course we have to do that, but that looks very unlikely.
About 44% of the total registered voters in the state, according to INEC, turned out in the last general election. It is hoped that number will increase, given the number of cards collected so far. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Now let's take you to the story we caught earlier where we said President Muhammadu Buhari has affirmed that the nation's judiciary will continue to be adequately funded by his administration. This was when he was inaugurating the annex building of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria headquarters in Abuja. Let's hear it now from Adamu Sambo.
The annex building of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria is one of the numerous infrastructural projects executed by the retiring president of the court, Justice Babatunde Adejumo, as part of his vision for enhanced labor justice delivery in the country. The building, made up of 3 floors comprising 2 judges' chambers, 2 courtrooms and various offices, will serve as a big relief to the finances of the court hitherto spent annually on rented properties. President Muhammadu Buhari, who congratulated Justice Adejumo for completing the project, said the socio-economic impact of the court cannot be downplayed. The industrial court, he said, not only provides the platform for workers, retirees, as well as dependents of deceased employees to find justice when treated unfairly, but also impacts Nigeria's ease of doing business indices.
Let me now appeal to the 3 arms of government to continue our collaborative partnership to ensure our policies, programs, and projects impact the lives of our citizens. Simply put, all Nigerians, regardless of ethnicity, religion, and politics, deserve peaceful and prosperous lives. Nigerians deserve fair justice delivery. It is therefore our collective duty to work collaboratively to ensure that such rights are safeguarded.
The president, who takes pride in the enhanced budgetary allocation to the judiciary by his administration from 68 billion in 2014 to 100 billion naira, promised to ensure sustenance to enable the critical organ of government discharge its responsibilities effectively. Both the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, and the President of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, Justice Babatunde Adejumo, were full of appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for the unprecedented support, love, and respect for the Nigerian judiciary, which they promise will continue to remain alive to its responsibilities.
I would love to use this opportunity to plead with Your Excellency to continue to support the judiciary in its bid to move the judiciary of Nigeria to an enviable position.
Sir, approval to begin to the CGN to appoint more judges across board so that justice can be delivered without being delayed. They say justice delayed is justice denied.
Established in 1976, the National Industrial Court of Nigeria has a mandate of adjudicating on disputes arising from and relating to labor, industrial, and employment matters. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And Kaduna Network Center is our next stop on Nationwide as we join Zulay Mohammed for more reports. Hello, Zulay.
Good evening and welcome to Kaduna. The Emir of Dutse in Jigawa State, Alhaji Nuhu Muhammad Sanusi, has advised Nigerian elites, autocrats and technocrats to lead in the actualization of President Muhammadu Buhari's economic diversification plan by investing in the agricultural sector to boost the nation's food security. The Emir gave the advice in an interview with NTA News after inspecting his 55-hectare of rice farm in Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira has details.
The monarch, who made landmark achievements in development of agriculture in Nigeria, says apart from being an agri enthusiast since in the early 70s, he is among few others who imported tea that is now known as yellow label for cultivation in Nigeria from Uganda and Kenya, as well as black sugarcane from England. Alhaji Nuhu Muhammad Sanusi said the current challenges facing Nigeria agriculture is as a result of long-time neglect of the sector by the successive governments in the country. The emir, who commends President Muhammadu Buhari's border closure policy on the illegal importation of food items, however, urges the current government to back the policy with result-oriented programs that could further enhance the capacity of farmers in the country. Rice that Nigerians import from Thailand and elsewhere are kept for long in the store, preserved through fumigation, which are hazardous for human consumption. People must therefore back President Muhammadu Buhari's policy and make sure that we grow our foods ourselves and be free from diseases related to these imported foods. He also pleads with President Muhammadu Buhari to revisit his agricultural land policy and make it favorable to the peasant farmers who cannot afford high-interest loan facility from commercial banks across Nigeria. According to the emir, if Nigeria harnesses its agricultural potentials to the fullest, it will not only earn the country hunger-free status, but the economically viable nation that the international community must reckon with. In Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
Nigeria sealed its land borders to curb smuggling of prohibited items, including rice, to boost domestic production and grow the economy. Abdullah Muhammad in Kaduna examines the impact of the closure on domestic rice production and consumption.
Generally have started reacting to the closure of the border, especially as regards to the acceptance by consumers of locally produced rice. You can see basically, traders and dealers like these ones here have in their stock large number of consignment of locally produced rice.
Aminu Ishaq Abdullahi deals in rice, and before now he stocked illegally imported rice. But that has given way to a variety of locally produced rice. He says sales has shut up.
So, almost a week, we sell more than 2,000 bags for Nigerian rice here. So alhamdulillah, our people now they used to buy it like that.
About 7 brands of locally produced rice are found in most of the major storage facilities in the Abubakar Gumi market. Retailers and consumers have continued to patronize the rice dealer shops, buying their customers' favorite brands.
When you open it, you see that the inside is very good, and when you cook it, you see that the rice is also good. And people are buying it. When I buy it and go to my place of selling, people will also buy it.
Local rice dealers as well as the operators of rice mills across Nigeria expect the federal government to remain committed to ensuring that Nigeria remains self-sufficient in food production and processing. In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
And away from agriculture, striving for the best in the defense of the territorial integrity of the nation is the task that serving military officers and soldiers or Nigeria's fallen heroes. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachkum reports that the Commandant, Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Air Vice Marshal Lawal Shitu Alao, gave the charge during a ceremony in honor of military officers who died in the line of duty 27 years ago.
Late father of Major Ebe George Osibe and husband of Holake Lasisi were among victims of the September 1992 C-130 military plane that crashed and killed 165 persons, including 140 students of senior course 15, 7 directing and 3 support staff of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College Jaji heading to Kaduna from Lagos.
God says in his own time he will make everything beautiful, and he has made it beautiful for us. So I'm happy, the widows are happy.
I really appreciate the Commandant for the initiative. May the souls of the faithfully departed as well as theirs continue to rest in peace.
Etched on the cenotaph are names of the fallen heroes. Commandant, Armed Forces Command and Staff College Jaji, Air Vice Marshal Lawal Shitu Alao says the aim is to immortalize the officers who died in active service.
The world
may not remember the speech we say here today, but will forever remember the price paid by the beloved officers and men.
This is the second time a memorial ceremony is observed in honor of the officers who died in the line of duty under the current leadership of the Commandant, Armed Forces Command and Staff College Jaji. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, NTA News.
And that's our beat from here. It's back to Ruth in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Zulay. President Muhammadu Buhari has described the former Minister of Education, Science and Technology, Ambassador Ibrahim Yerima Abdullahi, as one of Nigeria's greatest and patriotic public officials. In a statement by Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, says the President describes the elder statesman who is celebrating his 80th birthday as an outstanding gentleman who is passionate to serve his country. The President also praised Yerima Abdullahi, who is also Serikim Bay of Gombe, as an APC elder who contributed immensely to the successes of the party in elections. He prayed God to continue to bless the Serikim Bay with good health and longer life to serve Nigeria and its people even more. And talking legislature now, the Bayelsa State House of Assembly has impeached its Speaker, Mr. Tonye Isena. Mr. Isena has allegedly been under pressure in the recent past, the impeachment process presided over by the Deputy Speaker, Inogberi Abraham, cited gross misconduct and dereliction of duty as grounds for the impeachment. Former House Leader Monday Obolo now takes over as the new Speaker of the Assembly. And on security, the Nigerian Navy is developing the mental alertness of its personnel to ensure rapid response to security threats in the nation's waterways. This is the thrust of a 3-day intra-command sporting competition organized by the Naval Central Command to enhance physical fitness of its troops, safeguarding the nation's maritime domain and critical oil assets in the Niger Delta. The event sequeled the recent sea training exercise that spanned through 156 nautical miles on the nation's waterways, involves football match and tug of war. At the end of the football tournament, Team Delta emerged victorious, defeating the headquarters team.
The command have made efforts to bring criminal activities such as crude oil theft, sea robbery, piracy and other associated crimes to its barest minimum.
Let's now go to Ibadan to join Kemi for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Kemi.
And welcome to Ibadan. For meaningful developmental drive and industrialization to thrive in the country, Nigerians have been reminded to pay their tax. The call was made by tax experts in Ibadan. Correspondent Lukman Hassan has more.
When citizens pay their taxes as and when due, it will boost revenue, which will in turn bring more development to the country. The experts were of the opinion that stringent punishment should be put in place for tax evaders as they cause more harm to economic development of the country, thereby creating unemployment.
Tap into these informal sectors and ensure that they get more, participate more in the system, enlighten them.
Every state in Nigeria is blessed with one particular resource or the other.
It was also noted that the increase in the nation's value-added tax from 5% to 7.2% was long overdue. The development, they say, will create more money for infrastructure and provide jobs for the teeming youths.
The federal government takes 15% of the money. That is what the federal government takes. And it is like cost of collection to federal government. The state governments collect 50% of the money. The local governments collect 35% of the money.
Relevant tax collection agencies of government were urged to be up and doing in their duties so as not to deprive the nation of its revenue. In Ibadan, Lukman Hassan, NTA News.
A healthy diet routine, regular exercise, and adequate fruits intake are some steps towards a healthy lifestyle. This was the take at the first African Healthy Food Festival held in Ibadan. Correspondent Rofia Animashan Badmus has the details.
The composition of all grains, protein, vegetables, fruits, water, and fat and oil form the basic need of an integrative nutrition plate. The workshop on health, nutrition, and well-being played host to various disabilities clusters, schools, and albinos to educate them on the need to live a healthy life.
When you pick people with disability, people will have passion, they will have good hearts to help them, because they are very visible to people to identify as people suffering from a lot of health conditions.
Prevention is better than cure, and application of healthy diets will go a long way in preventing so many diseases.
They encourage people to increase intake of sweet vegetables, leafy vegetables, fewer processed foods, regular exercise, and healthy relationship to live a good life. In Ibadan, Rofia Animashan Badmos, NTA News.
Safety consciousness among Nigerians, as well as willingness to help victims of accidents to complement efforts of statutory agencies, has been described as the responsibility of all. This was the takeaway from a National Rescue Summit held in Ibadan. Dayo Gushola has the details.
Rescuing victims of road crashes and others in emergency situations are often done with reluctance among Nigerians for fear of being questioned by security agencies and the burden of medical bills. This trend has reduced the survival rate of victims. Correcting this dangerous trend was the focus of a summit organized by a non-governmental organization with call on government to provide framework that will embody Nigerians to save lives.
What we are looking for at the end of the day is Good Samaritan law that will free every Nigerian to help each other whenever need arises.
Stakeholders from concerned agencies say no law forbids Nigerians from helping people in distress, with emphasis on technical know-how.
When you get to a rescue scene, give us a call. It's toll free, you don't pay a dime. The moment you call 122, help will come, no matter where you are in Nigeria.
So we should return back to those days when we care about ourselves, we care about our security, we care about our welfare.
Reducing the impact of disaster, identifying the risk in a particular place, those are main issues that we should be concerned about now.
The consensus is that Nigerians should sustain the age-long culture of assisting one another to save more lives. In Ibadan, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. More reports on Nationwide after the break. Don't go away.
Hello everyone, it's the green and white season again. Yes, it's time to celebrate Nigeria's independence. NTA Entertainment presents October 1st, 2019, a family fun fair and cultural mega splash featuring raffle draw, fashion runway, family games, cultural dances, comedy, Master and Miss Independence pageant, and lots more. So join us as we splash the happy colors of green and white. Date 1st of October 2019. Time 2 p.m. prompt. Venue NTA headquarters 11 Garki Abuja. Gate fee 1,000 naira only. There'll be lots to eat and drink with lots more to take home. For more inquiries, please contact 080-3473-3971 or call 081-6495-5584. You can also call 080-3652-7878. This event is powered by NTA Entertainment, your one-stop entertainment channel.
Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary, gains, challenges and projections for the future. That is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. The program, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. promises to be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
The new edition of TV Guide is out, exclusively taking a look at the traditional television and new media. Are they comparable or complementary? Media industry players give perspective on the trends, progress, challenges, and the way forward. Find out on this compelling edition of TV Guide. Expository interviews with stars of the team within our space. Becky Madojemo of NTA, Tibel More of AIT, Nifemi Oguntai of TVC, and a host of others. TV Guide, your indispensable companion. Also feature Iya Medina.
I'm the CEO, managing director of Iya Medina Sister Restaurant. I choose to serve. Shut up your mouth. Let me finish.
A TV drama series on NTA. let's get to meet the characters behind Iya Modina. This edition also presents exciting features on tourism, culture, entertainment, sports, health, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendors near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
It's the Republic Concert Independence Edition. You don't want to miss the biggest concert experience in the capital, featuring Joe Boy, Psycho YP,
I just wanna be like you.
and more. Toast to Nigeria, because we're lighting up the skies with fireworks as we count down to independence. Dance Battle Finale happening on the 30th of September at Millennium Park, the Republic, powered by OSGF. Brought to you by EdgeMax and Sosa.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Glad to know you're there. Let's talk health now. Lifestyle modification has been identified as key to preventing and maintaining heart-related diseases and building a healthy population. This is the opinion of health experts at a press event organized by the Federal Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Nigerian Heart Foundation to commemorate World Health Day in Abuja. Daniel Aderiye reports.
The World Health Organization says what most people may consider a regular lifestyle is what is responsible for 17.9 million deaths around the world every year. Nigeria is of course not left out of these indices, with health-related issues like stroke and cancer taking the front burner in the cause of deaths worldwide. The World Heart Federation set aside the 29th of September each year to commemorate and create awareness against heart diseases, and this year's theme is tagged My Heart, Your Heart.
The thought of this year's event is to heighten public awareness about heart diseases and their associated risk factors, and to promote in totality the cardiovascular health of the populace. The Federal Ministry of Health is committed to implementing the National Health Insurance Scheme, the National Health Act, the Basic Health Care Provision Fund, and other cost-effective interventions to accelerate attainment of the universal health coverage.
Addressing the issue of fake and adulterated food products, the minister noted that Nigeria is blessed with enough resources to grow food that could feed the country's population. The Ministry of Health, however, alongside other relevant agencies, are intensifying efforts to ensure healthier food circulation in the country.
Even in the forefront of advocating for what we have and what we produce locally is Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, that we must learn to eat what we grow. That is not to say that the regulatory agencies should not do their job to monitor and ensure that what comes in is what is good for the consumption of our people.
One of the highlights of the briefing was the launch of an instructional booklet aimed at informing and educating the public on various ways to keep and maintain a healthy heart and lifestyle. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
Still on health, to achieve universal health coverage in any society, priority experts have noted must begin to nutrition as an essential health package. They are, however, worried that the incidence of stunted growth of under 5 children in Nigeria still remains on the increase, despite interventions by the federal government and agencies. Now, in this report, Basi Ita Ikban takes a look at the prevalence of malnutrition in the country.
The first 1,000 days of a child's life offer a unique window of opportunity for preventing undernutrition and its consequences. Investigations show that This opportunity, grabbed with open hands perhaps, could reduce the number of malnourished children in the country. Nigeria is said to be the second highest burden of stunted children in the world, with an estimated 2.5 million children suffering from severe acute malnutrition.
The problem we need to think through policymakers across the country.
I've been at the vanguard of advancing nutrition in Nigeria. We believe that all lives have equal value and that everyone deserves all it takes to live a healthy and productive life.
It is said that malnutrition is not a medical problem. The record shows that it is a cause of 45% of all under 5 deaths.
Through no fault of theirs, other than that their cognitive development has been retarded by a lack of attention to nutrition early in their lives.
What then should be done?
There's need for us to look at innovations and new approaches so that Nigeria will not fail again in meeting the Sustainable Development Goals.
To achieve success in the reduction of malnutrition prevalence in Nigeria, experts advocate the scaling up of evidence-based interventions using proven contexts and specific modalities. Basti Taikban, NTA News.
And away from health, Nigerian women are adopting mentorship as a new mantra for preparing women and girls for the task of leadership. Now, the African Women Conference Leadership Development Center for Women and Girls is taking the lead in this campaign. Onengie Fanface will tell us more.
The dream I want to achieve in life is to be the first female Nigerian to be an American president.
I want to be the president of Nigeria because they should stop child abuse, human trafficking, early marriage, and we should educate female in Nigeria. I'm not scared of anybody. I'm bold. I'm not shy of anybody. I can do what I trust myself to do.
The confidence exhibited by Memuna, her determination to effect positive change if given the opportunity to lead, and her resolve to tackle the challenges being faced by women, aptly explains the essence of this gathering.
To raise female community leaders in every African society who understand the importance and are committed to ensuring the sustainable development of their communities.
And when you find a situation where women are not in position of authority because they lack the requisite leadership skills, then women cannot make the kind of advancement that we need.
Older women passing on knowledge and experience to younger generation of women. The goal is simple. Women must strive to and attain greater involvement in leadership.
See how you can mentor somebody, because if you have a good thing to offer, somebody should be able to take over from you and replicate, not completely, but meaningfully what it is that you've contributed to make you to be what you are currently. And these children, they lack information that we believe accomplished women can pass to them. They can be their role models.
The mentorship initiative will last 6 months with close monitoring of impact between the mentors and their mentees. Onengie Fanface, NTA News.
And reports just reaching us says as part of activities to commemorate Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary celebrations, President Muhammadu Buhari will broadcast to the nation on Tuesday, October 4th, that is tomorrow, 2019, at 7 a.m. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says television, radio stations and other electronic media outlets are therefore enjoined to hook up to the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority and Radio Nigeria for the live broadcast. And talking sports now, new talents discovered at the just concluded Stephen Keshi football tournament in Asaba, Delta State. Olumide Eguntola is our guide on Sports Update.